Hi, I'm Billie with Made by You, and I am working with Vintage Hankies. Look at all of this goodness. I love Vintage Hankies. I love the feel of them. We're making angels. Look how darling they are. So this is what I'm making. This is what I've been up to. And today I'm going to show you how to make the faces out of wooden beads. So there's a cute little face. They're all a little different because they're hand painted. So they all have their own personality. So I'm going to face the camera down so you'll be able to see better. I started with a couple of different size beads. I think I have 4 different sizes. Probably range from 16 to 22 inch beads. It's going to depend on the size of the handkerchief I use as the size of the head I need. But I'm just going to do some of these beads and we'll pick as we go making the dresses. So we take a burning tool and burn 2 dots for the eyes. It gives it depth. You can paint your eyes on if you want, but this just gives it a little depth, a little more character. This is holding it up so you can see it, but I found this thing is really hot, and if it slips, it's going to burn you. So I found if you set it like this on the table and press down, it's safer. So that's what I started doing. I just had it held up to begin with to show you. Then we need to paint the lips and the nose. So I got a dark red, this is wine, and a skewer, wooden skewer. So I dip this paint in the skewer and I do 2 dots for the lips close together. 2 dots, 1, 2, and then do a line down and then do a dot for the nose. Gives it the perfect little shape lips. They're all different. 2 dots close together, a line down, and a dot for the nose. It gives it character. All the lips are different because you're hand painting them, and they all have a little different personality. Look how cute they are. I'm in love. Look how sweet. Another close-up, 2 dots close together, a line down, and a dot for the nose. Simple as that. And now let's put the eyebrows and eyelashes on. This is Micron, I think it's the name of this pencil. It's permanent ink, and I got a 01 point. There it is right there, close. I wanted the dark brown, but I couldn't find it, so I got black and gray, and we're just going to make those 2 colors work. So you just paint the eyelashes and eyebrows. You can do how many eyelashes you want and do your eyebrows close together, further apart. They're all different. Don't you love the way they're coming out? They're so sweet. The last thing we're going to do is give a little cheeks. So I just got a Q-tip and some blush and just added a little color to her cheeks. That is simple as that. The next video, we're going to be starting on the dresses. Hi, I am Billie with Made by You. I've been making angel ornaments. See how cute? I have a video just on the faces. Now this video is going to be making the dress and possibly finishing the angel. So you can make yours and say it was made by you. Look at this one. It has the red. They don't necessarily have to be Christmas. I would love to find Christmas ones, but I don't have them. I just have regular hankies, but they can be on your tree, right? So the first thing you do, find what pattern you want to make. And I've been kind of making them the same so I don't have to think about it too much. I've been folding the hanky in half and ironing and not going all the way to the bottom, leaving like an inch or so at the bottom so it looks like a double hem. And quilting thread just so it's a little tougher. I guess you could use a basting stitch on your sewing machine, but I'm just going to stitch by hand. Just in case you don't have a sewing machine, you can still make it. And I kind of want to overlap it a little bit so when it gathers, this will be the front of her dress. This will be the front. It'll be gathered, but you'll be able to still see the beautiful flowers. So I'm just going to start by making a stitch right here. And then just start going in and out with your needle to make a gathering stitch. I guess I could be shooting this overhead so you could see better. So now we have our little gathered dress. We need to find a head that we want to use. I think this little face would be cute. take your tool. You can either use white or off-white or whatever color you want, but I got white and off-white. So I'm going to use the white since the hanky is white. A little bit longer than the dress, and I'm going to do 2 lengths of it. And then I have a 1/8 inch ribbon. This is off-white because I don't think I bought white. It's fine, don't panic, it's fine. I'm not measuring. I'm going to tie it off. Tie it at the top to make the hang. This is the hanging loop. Now we got to put the head on it. Now I'm going to put a spot of glue. I'm going to pick it up and put a spot of glue right there. So I put a spot of glue right there. And now this is going to be the back of the head. And I'm going to pull it down. But don't let the tool come out. Now we're going to feed the dress to the bottom. And we're going to make sure her head is facing the way we want it. So we want to gather it up and make sure your gathers are evenly spaced. And that is the front of her dress. I'm going to wrap the thread around a couple of times. Then I'm going to start at the back and go through the front. Go through all that netting and just go back and forth a few times. Front and back, side to side a couple of times. And then just tie it off in the back, make a knot. Now I want to cut the extra tool off. You can put it a little longer than the dress. This is vintage. Maybe I'll use this vintage one. Put it around the neck. Kind of fluff it out, make it even. And stitch it just like I did the little dress, in and back and forth on the through the netting, and this one through the netting and the dress. One more for good measure. Think you need some hair. So the way I make the hair is start off with the long tail, make a peace sign, and go in and out, around and around. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now I'm going to cut it off. I tie it off. There we go. So I make 2 of these, 2 little loops. I'll make 2 of my figure 8s. Put these off. So I didn't press the button. I didn't press the record button. I took my 2 little ones. They shaped like a figure 8 yarn. Here's a better one. And I put one in the back and glued it down. And then I put one in the front. The knot was right above the knot of the hanger and glued it down. And just shaped it up. And she has hair. Then I got a 4-inch dish. This is around 4.5 inches. And I got paper from the Hobby Lobby. It's textured paper, and this is kind of pearlized. That's what I chose. You could choose whatever you like. It just makes it a multimedia. You can make it fabric, but I chose paper. And I cut the circle out, folded it in half, and now I'm going to take it to my sewing machine and sew it right around the edge. I'll be back. So I sewed the wings in half, and now I'm going to put glue on the back of her head right here and glue her down. And I'm not going to go too far up. Or too far down. I'm going to do it kind of right in the middle of her head right here. With the halo, this is 18 gauge wire, but it was recommended 20 gauge gold wire. You can use silver, whatever you want. I didn't have any, so I used 18, and I think it's just fine. I take a thimble and I wrap it around the thimble. It's around a 2-inch or so piece of wire. that you wrap around the thimble. It gives it a nice shape. Cut it off. And you have a nice little shape U for the halo. And I usually just put glue and just stick it right in there. So it's like a headband. Right on each side of the hanger. Give her a little bit of decorations, like a bow under her collar. I think I'm gonna go with the red bow and the red flowers, just a little fabric flower. These are Christmas ornaments made out of vintage hankies. Let me show you how I made them. Hi, I'm Billy with Made by You. Laid out my hanky, smoothed it out with my hand. You can iron it if it's really wrinkled. I got about a 2.5 inch styrofoam ball and some netting. You can use lace or just material. I want to wrap it and tie it to give it a little more fluff under that hanky and to use it as the hanger because I am tying it with the same rope that I'm going to use as a hanger. So I tied it in a knot. Now I'm going to start gathering my hanky by pulling up each corner, all 4 corners, kind of layer them and straighten them out, juicing them up. And now I'm going to take a piece of vintage lace and tie that off after I get through playing with it a little bit. So I'm going to tie it off. You could use a ribbon. I just happen to have this vintage lace, so I'm going to use it on the vintage hanky. I'm just tying a simple bow, and then I'm going to even it out and then clip off the excess. Next, I'm going to make sure that hanger is in the middle, and I'm going to gather all my pieces up again, and I am going to stitch them together, stitch them shut. I have some embroidery thread on a needle because it is thicker than regular thread, and I'm just having all the pieces together and doing a couple little loops, and I'm going to tie it off with a knot and cut it off. The final touch is to add something blingy or something pretty right in the middle of that bow. I chose a blingy button. I did burn the ends of my hanger because it is a rope type material. Put the blingy button right there in the center of the bow, and that is it. I hope you like this project. I hope it gives you an idea, something else to do with those vintage hankies. Let me know what you think and let me know if you're going to try it. Thanks so much for watching. Spread the love and God bless.